What's up, Super Training family? I'm here with Doug Brignole, who we just had on the Power Project. Now, I have here a barbell, and we're going to do a barbell hip thrust, but Doug, is the barbell hip thrust a good glute exercise? Because I used to load this thing with 315 pounds, and I thought it was great.
Well, I wouldn't say it's great, but I wouldn't say it's stupid.
Okay, okay.
And that's the important thing to understand about all resistance exercises, is that they can all be evaluated on degrees of good and degrees of bad, right? So what's happening here is the first thing I want you to notice is how much extension is happening at his hip. Okay, he comes all the way down, stop right there. Now you see, he's not even at a 90-degree angle, femur to torso. Okay, he comes up, full extension. Okay, that's fine. Come on down, and up, and down. Okay, so that's enough of that. I just want to explain what's going on here. If he was doing a multi-hip machine, he'd be able to bring his femur all the way up to his rib cage. This wasn't coming anywhere near his rib cage. He was getting about 90 degrees range of motion from hip flexion to hip extension. With a multi-hip machine, you'd get 110 degrees, maybe 120 degrees. You'd really be able to bring your leg all the way up here, which is full extension of the glute, and then full contraction. The other thing that's going on here, he's doing two legs at one time. Okay, that's called bilateral. And so there's this thing that's kicking in called bilateral deficit. Bilateral deficit just basically means that each side gets subtracted a little bit of strength because they're both working at the same time, as opposed to doing one leg at a time, one glute at a time. You get a bigger contraction, more firing than you would if you're trying to activate both at the same time. The other thing that's happening here too, some people get a cramp in their hamstring when they do this. And there's two reasons why this is happening. One is because his knees are bent and his hip is extended, which means his hamstrings are double shortening. And that over shortening is called active insufficiency. That might be the reason they cramp. The other reason is there's some activation of the quads. He's actually pushing forward with his feet. If that ground was slick, he'd slide forward. That means there's activation of the quads, which means there's deactivation of the hamstrings, but the hamstrings are trying to participate in hip extension, as they typically would. So you're telling a muscle, participate, but I'm not gonna let you do that. So that could be the reason why but at the end of the day, what you should be doing is exercise that give you the most range of motion, ideally with a resistance curve that is through the entire range, like you would get, like if you were doing a squat, right? When you're in descendant position, you get loaded. When you're at the top, you get nothing, right? Here, you're getting more at the end than at the beginning, which means it's end phase loaded, which is the opposite of ideal. Early phase loaded is better, but better still would be a continuous tension through the entire range of motion, which is what you'd get with a multi-hip machine.
So let me ask you this. So the barbell hip thrust, not the greatest exercise for your booty because we want a big booty. What would be, if we don't have a multi-hip machine, what would be the movement that we could do, if we could show them, that would be better for the glutes?
Well, you could do that with a cable. You can connect the cable right here, and you can do an extension with the cable.
Sick.
Let's try that.
Let's try that.
So you would put it on your femur right here.
Okay, so right here?
There you go, right at the end of the femur.
Okay.
There you go. And you'd connect the cable right with the hook in front.
Okay, hook in front. Ugh. So where this would be?
That's about right there. And I'll tell you why. Once you get into it, actually you want to go a little higher because you want more extension.
Okay.
You want to bring your knee up nice and high.
Ooh. Okay.
You can now back away as far as you can. There you go. See if you can hold on right here.
Yeah. Or hold on here.
And there.
And here.
There you go.
Ooh.
Okay, now see how far his hip is coming up. He's got a lot more hip flexion here than he did on that glute bridge.
Yeah.
Now extend back. Now he's extending. Now here's the problem: is that he's got zero resistance because there's no distance between the cable and his femur. Now go ahead and stand up. Come closer forward. Okay, and keep your torso more upright. And now do it. Well, that's a little better. What I'd like to see is more of an angle.
More of an angle?
Maybe we can get, he was talking about using something that could allow you to stand farther back and keep your balance. Go ahead and skip back and you can use me for balance.
Actually, got this right
here.
here.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, now go back. Now you're getting,
yeah.
Can you go back a little farther?
Yep.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, this is, ooh.
So now, but come all the way up. There you go. And then kick back.
That's nice.
Now see, here's the problem is that this is the problem when you're using cables and not a cam. When you're up here, now this cable and the femur are almost parallel to each other. So even though you're getting the range of motion, there's no load there.
There's no resistance here.
You're gonna get the load, come on down right there, You're at 90 degrees to the cable. That's where the glute is most loaded. When you go back, you end up with 0 again. So you start with 0, you end with 0, you get the most in the middle of the range of motion. That's the problem with using a cable. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
It might even be better than the glute bridge, especially since you're doing one leg at a time. But the ideal thing is to use the leg extension version butt machine, which is a multi-hip machine. It is the same principle of loading the lever that's activated by your target muscle and having a continuous tension throughout.
I like this. Well, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think people should know about this, on this topic?
I love the idea of doing one glute at a time. I love the idea of not putting anything on your spine. I love the idea of getting more load on the glute with nothing on the spine than I can get with 400 pounds on my spine. So these are all true when you're using a multi-hip machine. You should tell the guys that run your gym, buy a multi-hip machine for the gym.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. Hip thrusts suck. Multi-hip machines are in for big booties.
That's right.
All right, make sure to listen to our episode that we did with Doug Brignole on the Mark Bell's Power Project. It was amazing. We went into all of this and more, so you shouldn't miss that. This was amazing, Doug. Thank you again.
My pleasure.
We're going to have more content coming your guys. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never a strength.
Where have we heard that before?